Pit lane closes in just a minute. I think everybody is now out. And on the DHL pole position is Norbert Mikelit's car back up in the air. They will now take out the tyre warmers, take off the trolley, the race tyres in the tyre warmers. The car comes around to the grid on probably the tyres it finished the last race on, which won't be used for this one. Interestingly, Norby used new tyres for the opening race. I wonder if he has new tyres also for the main race, or whether he figured that pole position and a good view would be worth more money than a freshly cut set of tyres. He may have a set of tyres that aren't absolutely brand new, but may only have done 3 or 4 laps in anger.
Yeah, it's interesting, but the stage is set for a very interesting race ahead. I mean, first row, we've got a Honda and a Volvo. Second row, we've got a Volvo and a Honda. Third row, we've got a Honda and a Volvo. All big championship contenders and plenty up for grabs. And then we've got a few speed merchants, Lachey and Chilton, right behind that.
Honda closed the gap a tiny bit to Volvo in the manufacturer standings again. It's now down to 50 points, which is an enormous amount. Still, unfortunately, they are behind. And that disqualification of all the Hondas in China, I think, may have torpedoed them very badly. Norbert Michelis starts on pole ahead of Nicky Katzberg and Nesta Girolami. Then Esteban Guerreri in the second of the Hondas, ahead of teammate for the weekend, Ryo Michigami. Championship leader Ted Björk will be in 6th, ahead of Mehdi Banani and Jan Lachey, with opening race winner Tom Chilton in 9th. Kevin Gleeson, the opening race pole sitter, in 10th spot. Behind them, everybody as they qualify: Daniel Ladge, John Philippi, ahead of Rob Huff and Tom Coronel, who get no boost in this because nobody's gone to the back of the grid. Then Chris Richard and Zoltan Szabo ahead of Philippi de Souza in the final of the RC Motorsport Laders. So those are the cars in their positions on the grid, and down there among the umbrellas and the plastic ponchos are the cars. Lot of attention naturally for local hero Ryo Michigami, not just a Japanese racing driver of considerable stature, but a man who knows this track very well indeed. So the Volvo safety car at the front of the field. DHL poleman is Norbert Michelis in his Honda Civic. At the other end of the field, Felipe de Souza in the RC Motorsport Lada. So the Macanese driver next time out will be properly back at home on the streets of Macau. And that will be the penultimate race weekend of the 2017 World Touring Car Championship. Final encounter will be in very different conditions from this. You've got to bet, haven't you, in Qatar? Can't rain there as well like this, can it?
Does it ever rain there? It does rain there, doesn't it?
It does rain there, yeah, but well, they're saying
about 2 days a year.
Not in 130 years or something have so many tornadoes come to Japan in October. Plenty of them already. You never know. Could be that end to the championship. It could be the rainiest end to the championship. We've had some pretty. I mean, last year was just unbelievable. Almost everywhere we went, we got soaked. We consistently said that the W in WTCC meant wet.
Yeah,
it definitely felt like it, didn't it?
Had some pretty mixed Macaus as well.
Yep. Yes, we have. Felipe de Souza and Zolt Szabo, 17th, 16th. Chris Richard in 15th place. The Swiss Deutsch, who wins his drive here as a prize for winning the European Touring Car Cup, and he shares the grid with another Chevrolet driver on row 7 in front of Chris Richard is Tom Coronel.
Yeah, poor old Tom Coronel in the DHL car. He had a very average race one, starting 12th, finishing 13th. So he's just struggled the last few meetings, hasn't he?
Yeah. And in fact, although he was 12th on the grid, he should actually have been 14th, and that would have been one spot up, but one spot up, one spot down. You know, when you're 13th, 14th, like he and Rob Huff are, doesn't make no, never mind. It's not the front of the grid, you know, that's not where they want to be, and it's not where they're used to being. So he and Rob Huff both with a lot of work to do, and with cars that don't look like they can do the job.
No, they're hanging on for the middle of the pack, trying to pick up the scraps when others have been falling out with each other.
Again, John Phillippe's car looked more comfortable than Huff's in the first race, even though Huffy managed to get in front of him. And that's just Huff's superior racecraft. 4:47 p.m, which is an hour and a quarter from now. So any delay is going to be very bad news indeed for driver visibility. Luckily, it doesn't seem like there's likely to be a delay. Everything running according to plan so far. Now the cars have finally arrived on the sea freight at any rate, having had to wait out some typhoons in the Sea of Japan. I just saw Ted Björk, our championship leader, being sealed into his car. He starts in 6th place. Top 6 spots on the grid are the 3 cars from each of our 2 factory teams. So we've got all 3 Volvos, all 3 Hondas in the top half dozen. Björk missed out on going through into Q3, Matt, and that means no extra points for qualifying. And he may not necessarily need them, but on the other hand, if he's sitting in the FIA gala at the end of the year applauding somebody else who's won by half a point,
what was Andy Priaulx saying? What did he used to say? We're just seeing Ryo Mishigami there, his WTCC career best qualifying in P5, so he's going to be wanting to make, you know, on his home track, tricky conditions, which he knows, so he's going to be wanting to try and capitalise on that.
Yeah, it was his first Mach 3, his first Q3 as well, best ever Japanese qualifying in World Touring Car history, and best rookie grid spot for a Honda driver, 4th place from Esteban Guerrero in his first qualifying. I wonder if I can't substantiate that, but slightly feeling my water it might be. Whatever, whether it is or it isn't.
You consider the Honda's carrying the full 80 kilo you know, weight penalty, and going forward, you know, it looks like the Honda's going to keep that 80 kilos because they've been fastest in qualifying. They've been quicker than the Volvo in the race. So, if anything, the Citroen might gain a bit of weight by Chilton's fastest lap. But beyond that, you know, we'll get to Macau, and that 80 kilos could really hurt him at Macau.
Yeah. Well, the weight here, less of a penalty because the grip level is so low and the extremes of speed and cornering are much less than they would otherwise be. But yes, every ounce you carry uphill in Macau and downhill in Macau and along the long, fast straights in Macau,
yeah, which is probably
always going to find you out.
The weight here, you know, we both noticed that the Honda was struggling a little bit on the straights compared to the Volvo.
Yeah.
That will be weight related.
Yes, and
100%.
It was only right at the end of the straight that it, so that initial acceleration. And, you know, here you've got a nice long wide straight. That's not quite the same in Macau.
You can see the water there, look, and the rain coming down as well.
Yeah, it's really pelting down. And our safety car driver, Bruno Correa, in his brand new Volvo estate. Yeah, you can really see how much water, and you know, this is a road car on road tyres. You can really see how much water is moving.
When it goes back into the fleet sales, one careful owner.
And Bruno. What? Hey, no, sorry, no. Yeah. Now then, he will not be driving a safety car in Qatar. Do you know how I know that?
Because he's doing Formula E.
Because he'll be doing Formula E in his BMW i8. It's a tough life, isn't it? Noncing around in your super duper cars. Obviously, he does have a very sensible role to do, and this is part of his role actually now, is to go out and report back to our race director Miroslav Bartos and say, yeah, no, it's okay, it's wet. I mean, you can see now that the haze here, that's the rain bouncing off the track. It is actually really raining hard.
Worse than race one now.
It's a lot wetter. There's a lot more water on the track. It is raining hard. But it has been this wet. Now, see, this is all part of it. Is it wetter than it has been? No. So do we need to start behind a safety car? Probably not. However, this lake down here is now starting to fill again, and it sort of comes down the access roads and all those runoff areas and out of the gravel traps. At the low point of all of them, you get a little river of water.
It's not wetter than it has been, but it's wetter than it has been when they've been driving as a pack.
Yes.
And that's a big difference to your vision.
Yes.
I suppose Michelitz and Katzberg will be...
Yeah.
Yeah, let's start behind a safety car.
Nicky won't be behind the safety car going, we can't race in these conditions. Or actually, he might. But
they'll be wanting to start behind the safety car.
Okay, well, there's the word from Mirek. We will start behind the safety car, and that will normally mean 2 laps to allow a reconnaissance for the drivers, because it is significantly wetter. Beautiful tones of the Japanese national anthem as we lead ourselves into our grid. Norbert Michelitz and Nicky Katzberg start on row 1 of the grid. Nestor Girolami and Esteban Guerreri, it's an all-Argentine row 2. Rio Michigami's best ever qualifying. He's 5th ahead of points leader Ted Björk. Mehdi Banani and Jan Erlaché head the trophy racers ahead of our opening race winner Tom Chilton and opening race pole sitter Kevin Gleeson. Then Daniel Nagy ahead of John Philippi, Rob Huff and Tom Coronel in the doldrums, and it's unlikely to get better for them today. Then Chris Richard, Zoltan Sargo. First of our safety car race laps. Now, things we learned in China when it's very wet is 2 laps behind the safety car are enough to declare the race over and give half points. I'm not suggesting it is wet enough yet to make that decision. I'd say, Matt, it's...
Tiago Monteiro is going to be doing his rain dance, isn't he?
He is. He's he's already on the phone to Mirek going, Mirek, it's too dangerous.
Dancing around his living room, yeah. Airwaves from Portugal are going to be...
Dear. Okay, so on to lap 2 of the race then, and potentially at the end of this, it could be killed off. I'm not sure that it's that bad.
Well,
I'm not sure it's that good.
Look at the visibility, Martin.
Yeah, and actually, essentially, if you don't start it now, you're not starting it, because the tyre temperatures are dropping, brake temperatures are dropping. Katzberg says...
It's okay to rain. I think it's copy that, Nicky. Information, we'll go back to race control.
No need, he already heard you.
Yeah.
Nicky Katzberg's message was, I'm 4 places ahead of Ted Björk on the...
Let's go for it.
Yeah, I don't want half points out of this. I can probably win it, or at least get a lot more. And don't forget, it's not 25 points for a win, it's 30 points for a win in the first race. So 2nd place is the equivalent of a race win. 23 points, right, not quite, but he scored more in qualifying then. So... yeah, he needs this race to start because he needs to catch Ted Björk.
Yeah.
Yes, he's his teammate. Yes, yeah. It doesn't matter which order they finish in.
You can see Banani now, just at this slow speed. So Katzberg's giving it. I'm on the front row. I've got good visibility. So let's dance, fancy pants.
Of course he is. Well, yeah, safety car in this lap. I sort of thought that's where we're going. So it will be a 15-lapper with the safety car coming in at the end of lap 2. You can see everybody splashing around. It is quite wet in the Far East at the moment, hosing it down in Sepang in Malaysia as well. We had this, didn't we, 2 weeks ago when it was raining like Billy-O in China. It was raining like Billy-O here for MotoGP and in Fuji for World Endurance. And it seems that the race has really run into a lot of weather just about everywhere in the Far East at the moment.
Well, they've passed the start-finish line.
No, they passed the back start-finish line.
Ah.
That's a sort of secondary pits complex, so you can divide the tracks up. So this is coming down towards the end of the full lap.
Well, Norby's gone early then.
Safety car is in the pit lane because it pulls in before you get to the final chicane. And we are green flag racing as Norbert Mikulits comes out of the final corner. The lights are green. The race is now green. So the first 2 laps did count. Norby going on to lap 3. Nicky Katzberg in second place. Nesta Girolami ahead of Esteban Guerreri. Then Ria Michigami. And is Ted Björk still in 6th? There's Rio. Yes, he is. He's still tucked up behind
each other just to try and get a little bit of vision. Girolami
couldn't see him in the spray.
On the edge there.
Oh, here comes Ted Björk. Look down the inside. The third of the Volvos making a move on Ria Michigami. The local boy drives the long way round the outside. I've got the long way round. I've got momentum. And for everybody who argued that going off track on the outside is slower than on the inside after Austin last week, rubbish. Momentum is your friend. That's why Michigami didn't worry that Björk was coming on the tighter inside line, because he could keep his foot on the throttle and go the long way around the outside.
You could hear Björk just struggling for traction as he was in the dead straight line there.
Well, that's been the case through qualifying when you're on your own.
Both of them.
Down to corner 9. That's going to be an issue as well, because there's something in corner 9 there where they've just got to that has caught out a lot of people in this morning's free practice. I'm not quite sure whether it's a little river of water going in or whether it was drier perhaps than it had been, and so they were carrying in a bit more speed. But
Martin, I'd actually say these conditions are the worst we've seen this weekend now.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was about as wet as this in free practice 1 yesterday. A little bit more visibility perhaps, but by the end of the 90-minute session it was like this. But then they weren't all in a pack. They were sort of coming in and going out and, you know, dotted around relatively evenly around the circuit, whereas now they're all in a sort of a big snake in queue, and actually the gaps are opening up quite quickly.
Oh, is that Björk got to run on Michigami?
Yeah, looks like it. He's on the outside.
Michigami lets him go.
Yeah, well, if he didn't, if he stuck his nose up the inside, we know what happens there, don't we? You tag the car in front of you into a spin and you get a drive-through. And Michigami's nobody's fault.
Michigami's looking for the... Has he got the inside line on him?
Hard to tell. There's some lights. That's the Volvo on the outside, yeah. So Rio let him go and then suckered him back on the inside. So he's got the tighter line here, and Björk will use the momentum to sweep round the outside of Michigami, who was trying to block off his exit, and it didn't work. Cars are leaving much more noticeable marks down the straight now. Actually, there is a lot more standing water. I'm not sure this is going the full 15 rounds.
Takes a few corners and one straight. Björk finally gets the job done.
All eyes on Michigami as far as the Japanese are concerned, in the Honda garage and outside. Björk still only just in front. I'm not sure this one is done. Norby nearly 2 seconds in front after one green flag lap. Nicky Katzberg still second, Nesta Girolami third, Guerreri fourth, no change there. To give an indication of how much wetter it is, Norby's best lap, a 2:11.3. Best lap in the opening race was a 2:09.4 from 2:09.2 from Tom Chilton, so 2 seconds faster, which doesn't sound like an awful lot when you're doing a 2-minute lap. But Michigami aquaplanes off, keep your foot very Rio, and that's it. And the family are distraught, but not as distraught as he will be. His best ever race qualifying, and on his home circuit, he aquaplanes off or understeers off. Let's see.
Just locks the front wheels, probably. No.
And can't keep the momentum up enough to keep himself going. And it's turn 9 again. Not the first to be off there, and might not be the last.
Well done.
And now then, if the safety car comes out now, and it may well, in fact, I think it almost certainly has to, because they have to get the tractor in with the tracks on, then I think it may not be going back to green. Battle on with Rob Huff and John Philippi. It's a sentence you don't hear that many times. Tom Coronel trying to hold off Chris Richard. No, he's not trying to hold off Chris Richard. He's trying to hold off. Has he got by Daniel Nudge? Yeah, I think he has. 13. It's either that or Zoltan Zaba. I'm not sure which. If the safety car comes out for the Honda, then race will be over. Yellow flags are out at the moment, but they have to put a track vehicle in, and he's not far off the track.
And the visibility is...
Visibility is nil. I mean, we can't see the cars, and the drivers can't see more than 30 feet in front of them in this spray. Basically, all you can see is the whiteness that's generated by the car in front.
So, in that respect, the drivers won't be able to see yellow flags.
No, but their team will tell them on the radio there are yellow flags, there's a car off at turn 9. But you can't guarantee that all the radios work.
Chris Richards making a move.
Yeah, Chris Richards having a good race. And again, you know, we talked about this with Guerrieri, the fact that it is streaming wet, and it's basically, it's less about what you know about the car and more about your sort of feel as a racing driver is actually helping him out here, because it's not on the extreme limit. Vigorously wave yellows down here. Have they got Michigami's car out?
Yeah,
they have,
like
so we won't need a safety car. So they've dragged him out of turn 9.
I'd be surprised if he's the last casualty we're going to see this this race, though.
Well, nobody went off in the first race. The opening race, nobody went off. Michigami
They had a good go at going off, didn't they?
They were helped off.
Certainly had a good go.
They tripped over each other's shoelaces. I agreed. There's your race leader, Nicky Katzberg, no further behind than he was 2 or 3 laps ago. Katzberg's best race lap, though, which was his last, is still, oh no, it's a lap or 2 ago, but still a match for Norby. So he is behind, but at least he can see where the corners are, and actually that's probably why he's going as quickly as he is. The closer he gets, the less he'll be able to see, and actually his speed will start to drop off a bit then.
Yeah, timing screens are just catching up there a bit. I think they're getting drowned themselves at the moment, so they should catch up in about a few seconds. You can see that Volvo getting into the water at the end of the straight again, can't you?
Yeah.
These two making a little bit of a break for it. Girolami. Besides that, it's status quo.
Yeah. I mean, the weather is survivable. It's not what you call a race, though, is it? Michigami back out of the gravel trap, so he's dragged out of the way. Yeah, I'm afraid his wife's in tears, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if he is. Look at the gravel. That's like a huge gravel trap he's just left there. He stood on the brakes, and it all shot out. So Norby going the long way round. And again, Matt, very clear indication of what a wet weather racing line is, which is basically nothing like a, quote, racing line. You're trying to stay off the rubber here.
Yeah, you're just looking for anything. Any sort of...
Oh, and that's Chilton. Race 1 winner, loops it around out of 8th. Guess which corner that was at?
Yeah, that last...
Turn 9 again.
That's the water
that we saw the Volvo hit, and he didn't recover from that.
had a squeal, and he was lucky to get away with that. Just kept his front wheels on the track. But, yeah, just going back to the times, Katzberg matched Michelet's on that last lap. So Nicky's keeping the pressure on, hoping Norby won't be able to... Oh, safety car out.
Okay. Okay, so this is lap 7 of 15. Safety car will come out and pick up the leader. Why now, though?
I think it'll be general conditions, Martin.
It may actually come down to visibility between Marshall's posts. And who's in the pits? Michigami. Michigami is in the pit lane. His race is over. And I think, actually, briefly, the safety car will come out, and then I wouldn't be at all surprised if everybody's race isn't over, actually. I think it's for visibility rather than for grip levels, because I'm not sure that the grip is so much significantly worse. I think it might be an issue that Marshall's post might not be able to see each other. Safety car scrambled and ready to pick up our leaders. And they will be looking out for it. They'll have been alerted on the radio. Yas Honda will be on to Norby. And can Nicky Katzberg pass there? Don't think he should, really, should he? Safety car's been scrambled. It's full course yellow, effectively. Yellow all the way around.
The yellow flags start at the start-finish line and go in a clockwise and anti-clockwise.
Yellow lights there. No, yellow flags all the way around the circuit. The fact that they haven't got to where the safety car's coming in doesn't mean that the race is not neutralised.
That's a good point of debate, Martin.
So it's not a debate at all. There are yellow flags and yellow lights everywhere.
I'm sure it's a point of debate for Nicky Katzberg.
Well, Plumbing would be if he'd shot by Norby then. Now, I know he wanted to not be far away from him, but he did actually look like he was shaping up to think about a pass there. Ronnie Hartfelt with his back to us there, chatting to Paul Ridgway, Nicky Katzberg's engineer.
Getting some instruction from Ronnie Hartfelt.
Tell him to stick right up his exhaust. Yeah, Nicky may be close, but don't even shape up like you're thinking about a pass.
He isn't going to pass.
No, I know he's not, but don't even make it look like you are. Because then if Norby slows down unexpectedly because something happens and you don't react to it quickly enough,
I have the feeling
then you're in trouble.
He's managing. We will see at the restart. I will give it a go at the restart. Yeah, copy that, Nicky.
Well, it sounds like Katzberg's expecting to get it on again.
Was it again? I think that he feels conditions are no more undrivable than they were when we went green, and I agree with him. What I think is the issue is possibly, you remember we saw the mist rolling down off the hillsides, or the fog or the clouds or whatever it is that comes down and cuts visibility. We had this in Fuji a couple of weeks ago where red flag came out purely because Marshall's post couldn't see each other.
Well, and he's only got one car in front of him, so he can duck out the spray and get a bit of vision when the guys back in the pack aren't going to be so lucky.
And it is getting darker.
And there is more water on the road.
Yeah, it's an hour till sundown, but not when you've got this level of cloud.
Well, maybe they can run it till about 2 laps from the end. We'll have a dash for the cash. 2 laps to go.
I'll run it till 2 laps to go and then throw the red after 6 laps behind the safety car. Now, I have faith in Mirek Bartos that the safety car is not out for a bit of fun or to close the field up. And so there is a reason that we haven't necessarily seen. And I'm not sure it's just because Michigami went on. Oh, my goodness. That was another huge moment, I think, for Tom Chilton. Behind the safety car. Well, let's see that again. Was it Chilton or was it Bernani, or Philippi rather, who's in front of Chilton, weaving? It just looked like somebody was having a massive tank slapper, or the camera panned around and it was the end of it. Maybe it was just weaving.
Oh.
Now, one of the Zengo
cars, now
cars,
that will be frowned upon.
66, that's Zoltan Zengo. Zoltan Szabo, rather, not Zoltan Zengo, the team boss.
That's, yeah.
Oh, dear. Yeah, not as you're catching the safety car queue. That is not a good time to go off. I do like the way that the two Zengo Motorsport cars are 66 and 99, so I'd like inverted commas or the old joke, coming number 66, your time is up. No reply. Hello, number 99, are you in trouble? Let's hear from
Don't give up your
Rob
day,
Huff.
Judge.
Getting dark now as well. We're stopping okay, I will report it.
I think Huffy's just had a rubbish week. He just wants to go home, doesn't he?
Yeah, the translation for that is equally as clear as Katzberg's at the beginning. Katzberg's was, let's go racing, I want the points. Huffy was, let's go home, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, you know, when you're hearing these messages, when they're being relayed to race control, you've got to take into account that there is that aspect of the driver's mentality, but also you've got to take into account the fact that this is an FIA World Championship and you're hearing from a former world champion that the conditions are not good enough to go back to green flag racing.
I reckon they'll stop it.
I reckon they will. What I don't know yet is how many laps they'll plod round behind the safety car before that decision is made.
They'll do 75% distance.
They don't need to. It's just making cars go round for no good reason. If you're going to stop it because it's not drivable, stop it because it's not drivable.
Full points, and they have been racing.
Okay, what's 75% of 13 laps?
11, 12. Another 2-3 laps.
75% of 12 would be...
It's 15 laps.
9. 75% of 13 would be 10. We're on lap 9. It's not. Race distance was not 15 laps.
It is 15 laps now, though.
Only because the safety car's been out.
Yeah.
Race distance was 13.
But it is 15 laps now.
No, it's of the original race distance. So 75% of the original race distance of 13 might be 10 laps.
It might be 9, but it's not.
No, it's not 9. It might be 10. It might possibly be 11. They've taken the counter down. No, they haven't. Let's have a look. I'm going to get my calculator out because I can't do maths and talk. 13 times 0.75 equals 9.75.
Well, what about 15 times 0.75?
Doesn't matter. We're on lap 9. And at the end of lap 10, we will have completed 3/4 distance and it will be full points. And that, I would suggest, yeah, Neil Hudson agrees with me. Blimey.
No, he agrees with me.
Even a stop clock is right twice a day, but I'm only ever right once a year. We are starting lap 10, and in my estimation, that will be the last lap of the race, as you said, Matt, to get them to 3/4 distance, and that will then allow full points to be awarded, because from now
you can see the misting on the inside of the windscreen there as well, can't you?
Tyre temperature is gone, brake temperature is gone.
You can hear it lighting up at low speed. Yeah.
And unfortunately, not much racing has actually happened. The only thing of any note really that's happened in race 2 is Ryo Michigami went off and ended up retiring in the pits. And that's very unfortunate indeed for him. Very disappointing. He was really looking at having his best World Touring Car Championship race weekend.
Well, get your little points calculator out then. Let's
no,
let's
that's
do the
Neil's
maths.
job. He doesn't have to talk. All he has to do is punch in the numbers into his spreadsheet, and then he gets the answers.
And gives them to us.
He can come in here and commentate, and I'll count, or he can count and I'll commentate. All right, stop saying that that would be a much better way of doing it. Unfortunately, he's not able to come into the booth. However, Yes, 75% of scheduled race distance, which is 13 laps, so 9.75, which means 10, which is exactly what I came up with. Eventually, use of a calculator. I didn't have to take my shoes and socks off.
All right, I'll stand down.
No, you were right, because actually I said, why are they going round? And you said to get 75% race distance. Aha, yes, there you go. So there you go. So that worked too. And that's where everybody else has got to, isn't it? Paul Ridgway and Ronnie there going, OK, well, tell the boys, that's it. Race will be over this lap.
And you know, restarting now on the tires is even more dangerous, I think. Yeah, copy that, fully understood. Yeah, and that has been forwarded to the stewards, so they know that. Good information, thank you.
And Neil Hudson's already got the points ready for us. I don't see any mileage at all in trying to restart this now. You know, as we've already said, any temperature in the tyres and brakes will be shot. So I expect that we should see red flags now. And we're not seeing red flags, so...
Behind you is in the grab. Okay, test, thank you, copy that.
So where are we going? Now what are we doing?
Maybe you're going to my race distance.
Race distance wasn't 15 laps. OK. Now, I'm working on the rule that we used in World Endurance 2 weeks ago, which
is an FIA World
75% of the original race, scheduled race distance. There you go. So, where was the red flag at the finish line? At the end of lap? Oh, because they have to counter back to the last completed lap.
For everybody, yes.
Yeah,
so
but there were no position changes.
No, but they have to wait till the last car is over the finish line.
There we go. So 10 laps completed, race stopped on lap 11, so lap 10 completed. And so it will be full points to Norbert Mikulits. And that then moves him finally and eventually ahead of Thiago Monteiro, who after missing 4 races, finally slips out of second place and down to 4th in the championship, still on 200 points. Ted Björk is our points leader by 16.5 points from Norbert Mikulits. 19 points from Nicky Katzberg. Tom Chilton slips back down to 5th position, 44 points behind, as he is in 10th position, having won the opening race here. But it is a... Norbert Mikulits greeted by William de Brecquelaire and the boys from the AS Honda team. Our race winner, the main race in Japan, his 3rd victory in Japan, his 3rd victory for Honda in Japan, his 3rd victory for Honda here in Twin Ring Motegi.
Oh. Good for Norbert's championship.
Yep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Only 4 green flag laps.
Now we are very close.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
The race started behind the safety car, and then, as you say, 2 laps in the safety car, and then 4 green flag laps before.
Well, it's better than no green flag laps and half points.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, and they didn't do it without serious thought in China, and, you know, it's... The job of a race director is to try and allow people to race, and try and allow the fans to see racing, and try and allow the drivers to participate in racing. It's not to stop racing at all costs, it's to keep it going, but not at all costs. Here's our race winner with Alex Le Gui.
Norby's words to me just then were, I'm a little bit happier now. Indeed, you should be. Congratulations. Nice off the line. An unusual way to finish as unfortunate weather conditions, but a win nonetheless, and much needed points for you and Honda.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm so grateful to the guys because, like I said, after qualifying, the car was just great. Unfortunately, I was a bit lacking points in the first race, but winning a main race, scoring a haul of points is of course a great pleasure. So yeah, happy with the results, happy with how things are going in the championship, and I will push until the last lap in Qatar. Thank you.
Yet another twist on the tortuous tale that is the 2017 FIA World Touring Car Championship points race. Norbert Michelis, victor in the main race in Japan. He gets the 30-point haul. Nicky Katzberg in second. Nesta Girolami completes the podium. And Ted Björk in 5th position. Scores, but again, not as strongly as his closest rivals. And that all helps close things up. So, a damp but ultimately satisfying result there for the Honda team. Ready for our podium then for the main race here in Twin Ring Motegi, with one Honda driver and two Volvo drivers. I spy with my little eye Alex Le Gui down there ready to MC proceedings. Lights are on and the racing is done for the weekend here and for another year in Japan. And if I were moderately cold and possibly quite damp, I might be thinking now about heading to the car park. But then Japanese fans are made of sterner stuff. Clearly waiting for some VIPs to arrive from lunch. The premature end to the race having caught them out a little bit. And before we can begin our presentations. So Matt, in the end, you know, for Norby, you finish the race behind the safety car and you're sort of sitting there for 3 or 4 laps going, okay, we know where this is going now, we've just got to sit here and plod round. In the end, you've just got to think, yep, 30 points brings me closer to Björk, I'm closer to the top of the table, I'm up to second. So you don't have that euphoria of winning a real dash to the line, but you get the points in the bank, and that's what pays the prizes.
Still get another World Touring Car win chalked up in the record books as well. So there's I mean, obviously he's going to be pleased, but I know if I had been sat where he was, I'd have been praying for the safety car to stay out and count the laps down, and exactly what happened. And I think it was the right thing from the stewards and the officials. Yeah, agreed. It was too dangerous. Agreed. It was too dangerous.
Well, yeah, I mean,
and it closes the championship up. Yeah. So it keeps it interesting.
Onto the podium in 3rd position, it's Nesta Girolami.
2017 FIA 世界ツーリングカー選手権シリーズ JVC ケンウッド日本ラウンドメインレース第3位はゼッケン61ポールスターシアンレーシングネストール・ジロラミ選手です。
And in 2nd position once again from Polestar Cyan Racing is Nicky Katzberg.
そして第2位は再びゼッケン63ポールスターシアンレーシングニッキー・キャッツバーグ選手です。
And your winner of the rain race here at Motegi Twin Ring from Castrol Honda World Touring Car Team is Norby Michelitz.
そしてこのツインリンク茂木のレース、メインレースを勝ったのはゼッケン5番カストロールホンダ WTC チームノルベルト・ミケルス選手です。
And from Sebastian Loeb Racing, the WTCC trophy winner is Mehdi Benani.
そしてセバスチャン・ローブレーシングのメディ・ベナーネ選手に WTCC トロフィーが贈られます。
Yeah, Mehdi Benani, the trophy winner, ahead of Jan Elishay, Kevin Gleeson, John Philippi and Tom Chilton. So Chilton gets points for 5th in the main race, whereas he got points for winning, and Benani was 5th in the opening race.
And now the national anthem of Norby Michelitz.
そしてノルベルト・ミケルス選手国歌斉唱です。
Japanese national anthem for the Castrol Honda World Touring Car Team. Presenting our trophy to Nestor Girolami is Mr. Hidenori Sasai, member of organising
very
committee.
Elegant and dignified national anthems, you've got to say, the Hungarian and the Japanese anthems. So in the WTCC trophy between Tom Coronel and Mehdi Benani, points honours just about even. As far as the manufacturers' standings have gone, that was the weekend that Honda needed. They've closed the gap to Volvo to 46.5 points. And if there was any question that the red flag was the right answer, just the noise of the increasing rain, Matt, is all you need to know. Everybody there, you saw Alessandro Marinari trying to pull his coat up over his head because it is pelting down now.
That's right, Martin, and some very on-the-ball name pronunciation going on from Alex Legui again. Yep. I'm impressed.
Very good indeed.
Very impressed as we have the dignitaries. But
Managing Director of Japan Automobile Federation will present the WTCC trophy-winning trophy to Mehdi Benani.
Dream result for Honda though. Win the main race, get their boy. Then with Montero out of it, the boy they need into it is Michelitz.
Yeah.
So it's
Bjorg. President and CEO of JVC Kenwood will present the winning.
And for Norby, a third win here in Japan, third win in a Honda, Honda's home track. And again, for Alessandro Mariani and all everybody at Yasport, whether they're back home in Italy or over here, the boys in Japan, the guys in the race team, in 2 weeks, essentially, they've had to build 2 new race cars because only the car, Thiago's car that was driven by Gabriele Tarquini in China, is actually here at the racetrack. The other 2 cars, Norby's car and Rio's car, were both supposed to be flown back to be fixed for this race, but they weren't allowed to be flown out of China, and so they now had to come by sea. And so they will be fixed here, ready for Qatar, ready for Macau rather. So 2 replacement cars were built up from shells. So here is the Yokohama, the WTCC trophy, the Independence trophy, and Tom Chilton, who had accelerated away from Mehdi Benani. The gap now down to 2.5 points, but they are 10 ahead of Rob Huff in 3rd place. So that,
yeah, it's a shame for Chilton. He couldn't make it count after the first one, but they sort of he didn't have the time or couldn't get the speed out the car with the traffic.
And Honda closing a little on Volvo after the devastating loss of all their points that they scored in China after the car was found not to have the homologated fuel injection system. And this is kind of the picture of our Far Eastern tour, isn't it? Rain, rain, go away. Meant that there was not an awful lot of racing in China, and there definitely wasn't much racing possible in the main race
Japanese
here
eye candy
either.
still raises a smile, Martin, so rain or shine.
Well, they did an excellent job to get the cars ready after delays caused by typhoons, and this is the front from the latest typhoon coming through, adding to the layers of water on the track from the previous few days. And it's definitely very gloomy now, isn't it? So all the boys from Think Tank who put up all the hoardings in half the normal time, the teams who prepared the cars in half the normal time and on none of the normal sleep, and to the marshals who've been out all weekend and the fans in some fairly grim conditions, well done to everybody. So part 2 of our Far Eastern sojourn is completed, and we are now batting 2 for 2 with wet weather weekends and main races finished by red flags behind the safety car. Will the same apply next time out as we go to Macau, one of the ultimate street fighter circuits? And there again, we could see all sorts of different championship permutations being thrown up. It's been a big weekend for Honda, and not the greatest weekend for Ted Bjerg, with not exactly an open goal, but the man who was his closest rival again not here. However, he does go away from here with the championship lead, but his pursuers are closer than they had been. And that is all good news for the fans. Wet weather hopefully will not follow them across to the far side of China to Macau. Whatever happens, hopefully you will and be able to join us for the racing then. Until then, from me, Martin Haven, from Matt Neal, and from Alex Legui and the rest of the WTCC TV crew, from everybody in Twin Ring Motegi, thank you for joining us. Sayonara. We will see you next time out.